By the authority vested in me, I hereby declare this meeting of the Conshohocken Borough Council duly open and ready to conduct any business that may come before it. Roll call.
Note for the record that Councilmember Tutino is absent. Councilmember Griffin.
Here.
Councilmember Sokolowski.
Here.
Councilmember Barton.
Here.
Councilmember Stokely.
Here.
Vice President Flanagan.
Here.
President Leonard.
Present.
Mayor Aronson.
Here.
Thank you.
Pray for council.
Please rise. O Divine Master, in deep humility we place ourselves, our thoughts, and our plans in thy hands. We beg thee to fill our minds and our wills with the gifts of wisdom, understanding, counsel, fortitude, knowledge, and piety. Help us not to think of self or personal desires, but rather consider the responsibilities laid upon us. Help us to promote as far as possible the welfare of our people and to treat them with impartiality and justice. Grant us the power to set a good example in thought, word, and deed, so that thy blessings will be showered upon us and the people we represent. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This evening before our regularly scheduled meeting, council had an executive session on a property matter and legal matter. The first item on the agenda is approve and adopt the July 17th regular minutes and July 24th special meeting minutes, and approve the July entering treasurer's report and accounts payable. So I'll need a motion to approve and adopt the July 17th regular minutes and July 24th special meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
And just to note for the record that the accounts payable is the amount of $1,832,435.67. Thank you.
Thank you, Steph. Okay. Under new business, we're going to conduct an interview for the Dog Park Advisory Committee. Cecilia King? Or Celia King? I'm sorry.
Celia, if you could come up to the podium.
Good evening.
Hi.
Hi. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yep, Celia King. I am 28 years old, live in Conchi. I've been living here for about 5 years, had a dog for the whole time, and I live at the Grand, and I'm a mechanical engineer for Stryker.
Anyone have any questions?
What would your top priority be as a member?
Honestly, just to hear the group. So I live in the Grand, there's a lot of dogs there, and I'm friends with a lot of people with dogs, and everybody always has opinions on the dog park or something to say about dogs, and nobody's really come forward and spoken up. So I kind of want to be that voice.
Great, thank you.
So I was going to ask you what you thought your role was, but I'm assuming that would be it.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Celia.
Thanks for your interest.
The next item on the agenda is 355 East Hector Street, zoning hearing board application. Ms. Stetler?
Thank you. This is a 335 East Hector Street is in the Borough Residential 2 zoning district. It is one of those unique little properties in Conshohocken that is very small. The property owner has a new property owner here has a family, a single mother with children and a brother, and the space is much too small for what they need. And so they're looking to put an addition on the property and a parking pad in the rear, which will allow them off-street parking and will give them room for the size of the household. But it will also cause the building to exceed the permitted built area in that area and the impervious coverage in that area. There's an issue of where a deck is going to be that needs a bit of an interpretation, but Ms. Morgan is here, who's the owner of the property, and she'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Anyone have any questions for Ms. Morgan?
Yeah, is there a yard at all?
There is a yard. To give you a little bit of background, my father owned a home for 40-plus years, and I recently inherited it when he passed away. So I'm looking to move back in the property with his minor son and my 2 kids, but it's way too small.
Okay.
Chris, do we have anything else like this within the borough that has that much pervious coverage?
Not a lot, but this is a lot that's 17 by 90. There's a lot of, especially in this particular section of Conshohocken, it is the
Right.
oldest section of town, and the way things were built, when there was no requirements and no regulations at all, houses were put up. It's a 1,530 square foot lot.
Okay.
So there is a bit of a yard left, and the parking pad you would count as a yard because it doesn't have anything, it's not there's no structure there. And there are a couple of other lots like this, and we have had small things like this come up before.
Okay.
So it's just it's part of the nonconformity of Conshohocken.
Right.
What kind of materials are you using for the pad?
Do you know what the contractor's using with that?
Are you
I
doing
don't know
stone?
off the top of my head. I apologize. I have the blueprints. I have been working with a professional contractor
Okay.
and an architect, but I do not remember the materials.
I'm sorry, I don't
That's
remember
okay.
it either.
Okay.
That's okay.
I was just wondering if it was stone or pervious pavers.
Well, pervious would decrease the impervious coverage a little bit, but
Right.
sometimes that is, I don't know what the cost differential would be
Right.
and how that would
Okay.
affect the overall project.
Okay.
Okay. And what's the confusion on the decks?
There's the architectural plans, and I had this problem when I looked at them the first time and denied the building permit. There may be a slight change in grade, so I'm not real sure whether the deck is coming out of the first floor or if the first floor is down lower. I think the deck is coming off the first floor, but there's a small deck that extends out over the third floor. And if a deck is within the footprint of the building, it's not considered a deck that the zoning board has jurisdiction over.
Okay.
But if it extends into it, there is a provision in the ordinance that you can't have a deck extending into a rear yard above the first floor.
Okay.
So the question is this really in the footprint? And the plans are a little bit confusing to me. I mean, I had both of the inspectors from Licenses and Inspection look at this with me to try and figure out exactly what was going on.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. Thank you.
All right.
So, I'm sorry, Rick would be your father?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming in. The next item on the agenda is consider the resignation of a dog park advisory committee member. I would need a motion to accept the resignation of Jessica Roth from the Dog Park Advisory Committee.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is consider approving a block party request for the 200 block of East 8th Avenue. On this, I would need a motion to approve a block party request for the 200 block of East 8th Avenue. If no one has any questions.
I would. It was
The
an application.
the time
I
is,
think
it's Saturday, September 7th. The time is from 12 to 5. They'd be setting up, starting at 11 and breaking down until
This is
6.
the 4th or 5th year they've done
Yeah.
it without
The
any
4th
problems.
Okay. Anyone else any questions? Okay, so we need a motion to approve a block party request for the 200 block of East 8th Avenue.
I would make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The next item is consider authorizing the purchase of a dump truck for the Public Services Department. Does anyone have any questions before we make the motion?
Is everything going through CoStarz? Okay, because I noticed the discount on the top one for CoStarz, but where you added everything for the truck, there was no discount in there.
It's completely customized.
Okay.
So for the rest, how much is it?
It's $99,135.
The total cost for the truck is $99,135. That includes the cost of the truck and the cost of the fit-out. And what we are asking for you tonight is the approval to purchase the truck, since the repairs are in excess of $21,000. So it's
Right.
not fiscally responsible to
Yeah.
approve in excess of $21,000 to repair when it costs $99,000 to replace. And it would be replacing a vehicle that's from 1999 and is already on the list for cycling through the fleet.
So
Correct.
what are we gonna do with the old one?
The old one will be sold, scrapped.
And this
Whatever.
has a plow and all, right? It will plow, right?
Yeah, it was on the upload.
And just from a budgetary perspective, the money will be coming out of capital that is currently budgeted for. So I'm not asking for supplemental appropriation from any reserve fund. We budgeted specific money in capital in the 2019 budget for engineering services for a DEP MS4 BMP project. The DEP has not approved yet, so the money is not going to be expended for that item. So you're going to be moving, we're going to be doing a journal entry from 18,403,313 to 18,430,740. So it is while it's not an item that was budgeted, it is budgeted dollars. You're not expending any additional dollars than what your 2019 budget consists of.
One more question. We'll have this for the winter season, right? We'll have this for the winter season?
Yes, that's why we have to do it right away. It's the fit out, normally takes 4 months, but they have one in stock.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we need a motion to authorize the purchase of a 2019 Ford F-550 dump truck in the amount of $99,135.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Under unfinished business, consider the applicants to boards and commissions. Would need, the first is for, you want
Mark?
to do that one? Yes.
So it's Mark Bonavita Cola for the Board of Code Appeals. And that would be a 3-year term.
I'd make that motion.
A second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The second motion is to appoint Celia King to the Dog Park Advisory Committee.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Consider authorizing advertisement of an RFP for towing services. Does anyone have any questions on that?
No.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Council President Leonard, I have 2 items to add to the agenda. The first item would be to make a motion to authorize the approval of a memorandum of understanding with Washington Fire Company.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And the second addition is to make a motion to authorize the approval of the terms of the loan agreement with Seven Tower and Oliver Tyrone Pulver Corporation, and to grant the authority of both the borough manager and the borough solicitor to finalize those terms and agreements for in preparation for the closing in potentially September.
I'll make that motion.
I'm just going to read through the terms just so that it's
okay.
on the record.
Okay.
The UDAG loan, which the Pulvers are repaying to the borough, would be recycled in the amount of $1 million at an interest rate of 3.25% with both monthly interest payments and principal payments. The term is for 10 years. The borough mortgage would be recorded in second position in conjunction with the Montgomery County Redevelopment Authority. We are requiring an appraisal. For years 1 through 5, there would be 3.25% interest going back to Oliver Tyrone Pulver Corporation for capital improvements to the 2 Tower Bridge garage renovation. For years 6 through 10, the 3.25% interest would be going back, would be paid to the borough. And then that $1 million loan will be redistributed upon the borough's receipt of full payment of the current UDAG loan, plus the accrued interest, unpaid interest, legal fees, and costs in accordance with the plan of reorganization. That is the loan. Anything that I missed on that?
No.
Okay. Regarding the parking lease that is in exchange for the recycling of that $1 million loan. The borough will be in receipt of 46 parking spaces on the municipal deck that will be available 24/7. There will be 10 additional spaces in the Two Tower Bridge garage, also available 24/7. The remainder of the garage will be open to the public. Oliver Tyrone Pulver Corporation has the right to install gates and to meter this parking, and that is an item that we will work through with them. But again, that is 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. and weekends and holidays. The rent for this parking will be $1 a year. The borough will have a right to meter the public parking, which is the municipal deck, between the hours of 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. Again, it is a 10-year term, commencing with the repayment of the UDAG and redeployment of the loan monies. The operating and maintenance costs will be $30,000 a year for 10 years with CPI increases agreed upon by both parties. We talked about the interest. It waives any of owed money, past costs, rents, fees, et cetera, that are due and or owed per Oliver Tyrone Pulver Corporation for Two Tower Bridge currently, and it incorporates the payment of borough legal fees associated with their bankruptcy case. And then the last piece of this is the 7 Tower Bridge parking agreement. The conditional use has certain requirements in it, but basically what will happen with 7 Tower is that there will be public parking for up to 50 spaces available for access to the trail along the river from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. on weekdays and dawn to dusk on weekends. And the nighttime parking will end at 10 p.m. due to safety and property protection concerns. So those are the terms.
Just one question.
Yes.
If we put in the terms, we have the right to meter in the existing timeframes, will we have the ability, if the parking task force identifies that that's an area that we have opportunity, will we have the opportunity to amend that?
We can actually draft it to give you that opportunity,
Okay.
yes.
I would like to see that.
And we'll make sure that we include that. That's a good idea.
Okay.
Thank you.
So those are the terms that are in front of you. And again, you'd be also granting the authority of the borough manager and the borough solicitor to finalize these agreements so that we can finalize the closing of 7 Tower Bridge. I would need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much. I have no further business.
The next item on the agenda is public comment. Is there anyone for public? Can you come up and state your name for us? Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Mike Macoyd, 112 West 9th Avenue. I was here a couple of months ago talking about the trash to steam plant. I'm the guy with the 2 sets of twins. So if it's okay, I have a couple of handouts I'd like for the members of council to look at. May have to share because my printer died right before I came here tonight, or at least ran out of ink, so may have to double up. So really just to give, to preface my comments or give some background, we have less people here this evening, but I'm here pretty much representing a much larger group of people that span, all the communities that surround the Covanta facility. And I know, Steph, I had called, I haven't checked with you in a while, it's probably been about 6 weeks, but really just to let council know that this is still something that a lot of people were interested in. There's still a lot of eyes on it. And as I'm sure you're aware, there have been more incidents at the facility since the last time we talked about it. So really my goal or my focus with putting this together very quickly was just give some facts and figures, because a lot of people know this, but others don't if you're not on Facebook or if you're not fully engaged with what's going on over there. But really I'm not going to go through the full deck that I have. You can look at that, and I can always forward you a soft copy, Steph, if you'd like, and you can distribute it. But really, a lot of people wonder what comes out of that Plymouth Covanta stack. And this is according to data that was reported to the DEP in 2017, the most recent year where data was available. They released the following: 421,828 tons of greenhouse gases. This is per year. 1,320,940 pounds of nitrogen oxides. And he goes down the list: mercury, cadmium, a whole bunch of bad stuff that you really don't want to breathe in. So if you go to the next page I have on facts and figures, in terms of rankings, Covanta Plymouth is the largest industrial air polluter in Montgomery County. Again, this is according to DEP. They're responsible for 36% of the county's industrial air pollution, and it's right in our backyard. On specific pollutants, the Covanta facility is number 1 in the county on carbon dioxide, 36% of the total. It's number 1 in hydrochloric acid, it's 96% of the total. I had to look that up and actually confirmed it before I came here tonight. You can go to the website. Number 1 in nitrogen oxides, 55%. Number 1 in sulfur dioxides, 28%. It's number 1 in condensable particulate matter, and it's number 2 in mercury. The place, a sewage sludge incinerator out in Hatfield is number 1 for mercury. So really, I did some Google Maps work, and the next slide, just with facts and figures. Montgomery County, PA has a total area of 487 square miles. This one facility, responsible for 36% of the entire county's industrial air pollution, is 1.8 miles straight line from Plymouth Elementary School, 1.6 miles from Conshohocken Elementary, 1.3 miles from Ridge Park Elementary, 1.2 miles from JFK Park, 1/2 mile straight line from Sutcliffe, and approximately 1,500 feet straight line from the Colwell Park Playground. So concerns that I wanted to put forward, as many of you already know and you've heard it from others, but just to keep it on folks' radar. Industrial air pollution is known to contribute to asthma, cancer, and other illnesses. And do you know any children in our community with asthma? It's funny because since this became an issue in mid-June, I found out that we have a lot of asthma customers. I had no idea. A lot of my children's friends. While direct link to Covanta's emissions may be impossible to establish, exposure to higher levels of industrial air pollution as a result of open windows and outdoor activities doesn't help. Regardless of assurances from Covanta, the recent systems failures and uncontrolled shutdowns in a plant that is quickly approaching the end of its projected life should concern everyone in nearby communities. It doesn't make sense to enter into yet another multi-year contract with the risk of more costly maintenance, plant downtime, and additional pollution to nearby communities. So really, if I leave you with one thing tonight, and again, staff, I'll give you a soft copy of this, I'd like you to look at the second to last slide. Covanta, as you probably are aware, they contracted with a firm called Trinity to perform modeling, just like the weather folks do modeling to see what the storm is going to do. They put this out there to show what the typical emissions are during June 11th and during regular operations where they're burning municipal waste. And if you look at this plot, this map, this is straight from that report, which I got access to. You see the concentration really dense right around neighboring communities, and Conshohocken is right in the crosshairs, especially Councilman Stokely, your area of the town. So you get a lot more nitrogen dioxide hitting that particular area. Now, Covanta says, and Trinity also says, that this is below established limits, so that it's fine, there's no issues there. The interesting thing about that is, while I was sitting here tonight, and before I came up, I happened to just be looking at the news on my phone, and I don't know if somebody much higher up is looking out for me or is throwing me a hint. One of the top stories on CNN's homepage right now, if you look at it, just go to cnn.com on your phone, is that air pollution can kill even when it meets air quality guidelines. I'm just going to read the first couple of paragraphs because I think it's very important. It dovetails nicely. And I had no intention of even going this. I just saw it happenstance tonight. Even when air pollution is at levels below air quality guidelines and our regulatory limits, it can still pose a hazard to public health. In a 30-year analysis of 652 cities in 24 countries and regions on 6 continents, researchers found that increases in air pollution were linked to increases in related deaths. The study, published Wednesday, today, in the New England Journal of Medicine, was one of the largest international studies to look at the short-term impact of pollution as a cause of death. And it goes on. Like I said, go to cnn.com on your phone. It's a top story there right now. So I found it very interesting. But really just to end, because I don't want to take up people's time, but this is important to a lot of people. I know that there are talks underway. I know that the letter was sent that we're not auto-renewing with Covanta. And I'd just like to press council, please, keep it up. Your residents are looking for your guidance, for your leadership here. If anything else can be done with transfer facilities, severing a relationship with these folks, I think it'd be in the best interest not to be party to having this coming over our community. And that's basically it.
You do know that Plymouth Township has hired lawyers to look for engineers.
I saw that. Actually, it's very encouraging. So it's nice to see that others are taking note. And I don't know, like I said, Steph, I have been meaning to follow up with you about with vacations and everything else going on, but I don't know if any members of council perhaps would give an update on if they said anything, how things stand right now, if you're willing or if you're able. I don't know how that works.
We had a tour,
Yeah,
most of
the-
council.
We all went
There
on
were
tour.
several of us that
We
went.
toured the plant, and it's interesting what they do down there, but they didn't get into what the problem was. And, I mean, we're waiting for the experts to do that.
We're actually keeping in touch with Plymouth about their actions because it is in their borough.
Right, it's their jurisdiction, yeah.
municipality, yes. So we are staying on top of everything with it.
Okay. Like I said, I'm here representing a much larger group. There's still a lot of conversation taking place. We're talking with another environmental lawyer. So it's really, a lot of eyes are still on this. So any updates that are able to be given, anything that's put out, and Steph, I know I can always call you and follow up for sure, but I said I'll send you a soft copy of this, but I just wanted to.
Have you taken a tour?
No, I have not.
You
Actually,
can contact them and take one.
I don't think they'd want to see me, but I'll ask. So
I-
just
I think they will. Sure.
Really? Okay.
Mhm.
No, that's good. That may be a good
They're
idea.
very open.
I'm glad. So the interesting thing is, though, that I knew nothing about this until June 11th and just pretty much started educating myself. A lot of it has to do with self-reporting, and even with this modeling that they hired this third-party firm to do, and looking into just how they modeled the day of. And I won't go deep into the weeds. Nobody needs to be an expert on incineration here, but just in their inputs for the model, they said that when the issue happened on June 11th, it was because of urea injection over the course of an 8-hour period while they were bringing the incinerator up the heat, bringing it up, and they're burning fuel oil, and they injected urea too soon. The interesting thing, that 24-page report that they put out to Trinity and what they're pinning their claims that this was safe, it was under established limits, makes no reference to urea. There's a critical input that's missing there. I actually did a Control F, searched through the entire PDF myself. It was only modeled as if though they were burning fuel oil during that 8-hour period. So I question some of the information, and I'd ask that council, in your interaction with them, take anything they might say with a grain of salt, because in the verbiage and in their letter, even to Conshohocken and the neighboring municipalities, they say that modeling shows that nitrogen dioxide and other harmful things were below established limits. Well, yeah, that may be true, but there's also a critical input that's missing there unless you look very closely for it. So I'd ask that you please keep your eyes open in your dealings with these folks. They may present the visage of being open and welcoming, but be on guard. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Anyone else for public comment? Mayor Aronson?
So the first thing is, last night, our Dog Park Advisory Committee had a public roundtable discussion at the community center. Some of the topics up for discussion were just general dog recommendations, Riverside Dog Park, and more events that could potentially happen to build community. I commend the committee because it is not easy to put on a public meeting with residents. So I thought they did a really nice job, and hopefully it's the first of a continuing series of meetings to get more input as they continue on in their mission. So thank you for allowing that to happen. And then I wanted to bring up, this is actually our last meeting before September. My wife, Sarah, is a suicide prevention and awareness advocate. She held a very successful suicide awareness panel in Conshohocken this September last year. We had over 100 people attend at the community center. She would like to bring this kind of programming all around Montgomery County. So this year she's bringing it to the Plymouth Community Center. It's going to be September 10th, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And it's going to have a very Conshohocken flavor. We have Robin Gupta, who's the owner of Guppies, who's going to be one of the panelists. Paul Letterber, who's a member of our VFW, and our very own Officer Valone is going to be a panelist. So we highly encourage everyone to come. It's a free event, and hopefully it's just another in a continuing series of resources for anyone that needs help. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Stokely?
Yes, thank you. I was going to speak a little bit about property maintenance in the borough, but I'm going to save that for next month because I think it's more important to speak about the stop sign situation and the reckless driving we have in Conshohocken. I think that the residents should talk to their children that drive, and everybody take a look at themselves. I mean, people go through, I watched somebody go through 6 stop signs on Caldwell Lane, following them down Caldwell Lane. So it's getting very dangerous in the borough, and our police are pulling people over. I saw a couple traffic stops today, but, I mean, and you follow them, I mean, it's 5 stop signs, I mean, it's ridiculous. And the reckless driving, I mean, they're not paying attention, they're texting, they're on the phone. So I think it's very important to start spreading the word and talking to your children and whatever we can do in the borough. It's only a small borough, and we can make it very safe if everybody just communicates. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Nothing.
Amy?
Nothing.
Tina?
I think just to tag on to Bob, school starts the day after Labor Day, so we want to make sure that
School buses.
the school buses, stopping for school buses and the children's safety. There are a lot of kids that are walking on our streets to get to school or to wait for the buses, so we definitely want to be aware of that.
Please don't go around them.
Jane?
I just want to remind everyone that we have an election coming up November 5th, and the last day to register to vote is October 7th. You can either register online or through the mail, and if you do want to register by mail, it has to be postmarked by October 5th to vote this session. So thank you.
Ike? Chief Metz?
Just a reminder that September 14th, we're having a shredding event. A lot of people ask throughout the year for us to spread the word. It's in partnership with Coldwell Banker. They're using their lot. Everybody reminds them it's the 14th.
That's here, right? George, where is that?
Coldwell Banker.
Oh, Caldwell, okay.
You're going to have it
I'm
on
sorry.
the board out there, right?
We will, yes.
Yeah.
And I just want to remind everyone that Fun Fest is scheduled for Saturday, September 21st on Fayette Street.
Okay. That's it. Meeting adjourned.